Yeah, you're trying to scrounge for a good spot. Been very picky with your cuddles lately. Anyways, hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. This is Megan at Calm the Front Door, and I'm just filming this little intro to this time-lapse video to say I messed up this video. I didn't realize I had not started my time-lapse until I'd already finished sort of the first layer of things was already done. So that's why you don't really see it from beginning to end. You see sort of it 25% to 100%. So that's my bad. But I still wanted to put out this video because I'm proud of the piece, and I'll get into that later. I also want to say that sorry I messed up because I haven't uploaded a video in all of February. I've been in a bit of sort of you could say a bit of a slump lately. February just sort of passed by. It did. Just sort of passed by in a sort of a hazy depression. And I'm still sort of in that. Today's March 1st. I'm still sort of in that. But we're working through it. But now here I am with a new video again. A little different than what I've previously put out before, but I'll also get into that later. So let's get on with the show and start rolling that footage. Enjoy!
Sometimes things get a little stale. Sometimes you gotta shift gears. Sometimes you just need to try something new. And today, that's what we're trying to do. First, before I get into that, I just want to talk about something. So far, most of my videos on this channel have been studio vlogs, basically compilations of footage I took months ago, made somewhat coherent and connected through the power of editing. Because I was, and arguably still am, just starting to learn the skill of video editing, I'm not the speediest editor in the world, nowhere near it in fact. And I built up a backlog of footage I had filmed long before the footage would even be uploaded to my laptop to be edited, sometimes months later. I was determined to stick with it. I'd already shot all this footage and gone through all this effort, but if I'm gonna be honest, it's been making me a little miserable lately. First of all, when I spoke to the camera for these vlogs, I in no way scripted or wrote any sort of outline for myself, which just led to long stretches of unrelated tangents with no focus in sight, because I love to talk. And no matter how hard I tried to push through and improve my editing skills, it just became a long slug and I wasn't getting any enjoyment out of it anymore. And there were still so many hours of footage, and even when I would cut out entire days of footage and cut down as much as I felt like I could, the studio vlogs would still end up so long. Usually by the time I'd be ready to watch the whole thing back from last Passover, I'd be so fucking sick of myself, and of that vlog in particular, which is not how I want to feel about the videos I put out here on YouTube. So for now, I'm putting a pause on studio vlogs so that I have more space and freedom to try some new things for this channel and work on some projects that I had put on hold or held back on to leave space for these vlogs. So now I'm trying out some new types of videos and content to work on for YouTube to see what may spark joy again for me and hopefully you. Speaking of new things, also, I've recently started using Clip Studio and I absolutely love it. I'm gonna say it right now, the gouache blender brush that's standard is overpowered. If it wasn't obvious before, this is a still life. But if anyone else is just starting in Clip Studio, the gouache blender is actually really good for like blending skin tones and getting a more realistic skin texture while still looking paintery, in my opinion. But we're not rendering skin here. This is a completely different piece, so let's talk a bit about it, shall we? In this piece, I actually am trying out quite a few new things. One, trying out a still life. I've been really liking Lee Ellickson's recent still lifes. They're so pretty and vibrant, and I really enjoy the texture she adds to her pieces. This still life, not actually based on a real life setup, just from imagination and various references, is based around the theme of tragedy, inspired by finding this vase featuring the tragedy and comedy masks on Etsy when looking for some reference. I thought it would be fun to sort of just continue the theme. So I added 2 roses to the vase, one in bloom and losing petals, and one still a bud yet to bloom. On the right is a candle that has just burned itself out, the wick at its end, smoke beginning to disperse and expand beyond it. On the left is a bell, which I don't fucking know, tools for thee? I don't know, it felt like it fit. It's because bells are, they're usually used as a symbol of sadness, finality, realization, death, etc. It just felt like it fit. I've also been wanting to work on rendering different textures and drawing sort of like objects in general, so it provided the perfect excuse to work on some still lifes on my own, and leads to number 2 of rendering different objects and the textures of those objects. Here I focus mostly on reflective and metallic surfaces of varying types. The vase itself was somewhat reflective and had a really cool texture I wanted to capture in the way it reflected light and color, and by the end, by God, I think I did it. The bell I wanted to be very shiny and appear very polished and reflective. I end up not 100% happy with how the bell turned out. I wish I'd added some more detail to the design of the bell so it had a bit of more like visual interest rather than just being bright and shiny. But I also struggled with perfecting like the bell shape, not just the bell itself, but the handle too. So even though I'm not totally happy with it in the end though, I'm still happy on the progress I made on it and what I learned in working on it and what I learned on texture. The candle holder, while also metallic, I wanted to appear to be a duller, more worn metal texture, sort of like a wrought irony texture. I think it also turned out a little meh, but I'm overall pretty happy with how it turned out. It didn't come out perfect, but it was also a learning experience. And my third goal for this still life was to work on my tones and values. So I'm sure you also noticed, besides this being a still life, that this piece is solely in grayscale. And that's not because of the theme, but because I'm also trying a new digital art technique as well. Another art goal I wanted to work on was my use of tone and values, which I've been struggling with. So once I feel happy with the grayscale painting later in this video, with different stages, effects, and textures being on different layers and different layer groups, I'm going to add a gradient map to add the color to this piece. So from the Clip Studio asset store, I found some fun like dark and moody gradient map sets to play with, and I used a few different ones for different layer groups so I could get even more color variation and depth. It's not perfect. For example, I wish I'd separated more things into layers, like the objects in the background as separate layers instead of sometimes being on the same layer and different amounts of the same thing being on different layers. But for a first try with this method and not having much experience in creating still lifes, I'm still very proud of how this turns out in the end. I really enjoyed using different brushes and blenders and effects to create the still life and experimenting with the border and the background. I also had fun playing with combining the different gradient maps and see how different sets layered and fit together. Like I said, I'm still very proud of the progress I've made, even if I'm not 100% happy with the piece. There are skills that I learned in there and the overall outcome of this piece, and I'm glad I gave a shot at trying something new in my art, and also in the video content I provided here on YouTube by showing the time-lapse. It may not be perfect, and I may not be 100% happy with it, but I'm trying something new and putting myself and my work out there, and I think that in itself is worth the journey to find out what's revealed on the other side of this sort of art and video experimentation. So thank you for watching. If you want to see what else is in store for this channel, please like and subscribe. Don't be afraid to leave a comment. Let me know some new things you've tried, new things you'd like to try, or even just leave a cute little emoji. Your favorite, or one that you wish you could use more often that you don't get to, maybe. Don't be shy. I also have an Etsy shop where I sell prints and stickers, and you can also follow me on Instagram, and now I have caved and I have a TikTok. I have 2 videos on there, so go check that out if you want. All linked in the description down below, along with, as of recording this, hopefully I can get an affiliate link for Clip Studio if you're interested in trying it out, so that if you are interested in Clip Studio and want to download it, I get a little bit of kickback and no extra charge to you. Click that to check out Clip Studio if you're interested, and I thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you back here soon. Bye!
Are you snuggly butt? You're so cute. I've finished my piece, but now I can't get up to turn off the camera. So, anyone seen any good shows lately? Read some good new books or anything? I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring and just looking up stuff about the lore on that. Recently learned that George R.R. Martin had some sort of writing role in the lore of Elden Ring, and considering how hooked I was in the Game of Thrones books when I read them, it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. I don't know what else to talk about, so hope you enjoy some footage of me zoning out, petting my cat. And by you, I mean editing me, who will have to cut this video down later. I sure hope you enjoy. I know Boomer's enjoying this moment. And you know what? That's all we need, right? Editing me? That's all we want. In life is for our cats to be happy. You're silly. You're silly. You're a silly little baby. There's fur all over my pants now. There's fur all over my pants. I mean, there's usually fur all over my pants, but it's like a cloud of fur. Come here. Come here. Oh. Little boy. Oh, he's a little baby. Because he doesn't like to be babied that often. But when he does, he baby.